Okay.
And you want to?
Councilman Ham?
Want to help that?
Is it really?
No, that's okay, I understand, Dan, but give us a rundown of the things that are, you have an agenda there, Dan?
Yeah, so the O supplies is just a new line that we need to break out for reporting purposes specific to, I think we're grouping some things into like.
It's like certain items fall under certain.
Yeah,
line
so we're
items,
trying to
so
break it out, so.
Yeah, purchasing has asked you to make this.
Then obviously, there's a transfer from the general fund, for this. I mean, obviously, we're gonna transfer the $7,500 for that. Specific things.
Got it. Road number 5, let's go there.
So, yeah, this is. So this is a breakout. We've got a vacant real estate clerk position. The goal that we're trying to accomplish here is kind of rewarding some top performers. And we're basically just eliminating that real estate clerk position and moving some of the salary to more higher performers in the area. Kind of want to make that commonplace to recognize good work. Maybe helps others realize that, hey, I do good. You're responsible.
And you work directly with this individual,
Anyway, yep.
and I would recommend, I got the email.
Next one down. Not too terribly familiar with this one, to be honest with you.
How's the supplemental pay?
Oh, that's that, okay, yep, you're right. So this particular supplemental pay, same concept here is where we're taking another vacant real estate clerk position and then removing it, busting them out amongst 3 supplemental pays for the same reason. We've got some other high performers that we want to reward. That's kind of the precedent we want to set.
I'm in support of all these issues. I hope you've all received the email.
Tourism booster or a killer?
No additional monies, so any questions you can ask me.
On the valuations of all of these folks that are getting these increases,
Sorry?
the valuations on each person that is receiving these increases.
I personally put together some views on my tenure here. It's been short, but you know.
Your name, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Dan Cesarski. I'm the comptroller.
I see your name, I wasn't sure about the pronunciation.
Oh, yeah, it's a hard 10-letter Polish one.
So back to these increases. Are the evaluations, are persons evaluated before they get this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, some of these employees have been, high performers for a long period of time. And it's been my view is I think it's a good thing kind of moving in a step forward in a direction where we want to make sure that people recognize if you work, you do a good job, you're going to be compensated for it appropriately. And hopefully that stimulates more of the same mindset and, throughout the department. That's kind of what the hope is.
You're new to the department.
I am, yes.
How do you know they were high performers prior?
So there's been background, folks, conversations been had, and I've been a high performer in my past, so I can recognize, leadership and high performance when I see it, just from my career in general. I've worked for a lot of Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, so.
You all will be doubling back, asking for next year's budget to put those real estate clerk positions back in.
No, I don't think that's the intention at all, no.
Not the intent, but I would ask Scott to actually remove them, okay? Unless, please remove them at the appropriate time for the budget. Well, bottom line, in my conversations, not only Scott, but Dan, these are good people. We're finally gonna get this, a set of problems ironed out. We're the ones that brought Dan in, if you recall. highly recommended by our financial guy. I'm in full support of all these, but I would like those removed. I don't want to see those in the budget.
Yeah, just want to clarify one thing. We suggested the hiring of controller, but
Yeah.
Peggy, the auditor, actually approved the hiring.
That is, she approved it
Yes.
with strong recommendation from that gentleman.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's where things are kind of blurry. So when I jumped in to rescue Mobile County from horrible disaster, you know, I became like relied on and I have an opinion that maybe I normally wouldn't have in any other department. I certainly don't look at the sheriff's office and say, hey, you know, you should have less police officers or you should have more police officers. But looking in the auditor's office at the glaring, obvious skill deficiencies that exist there and still exist, a little bit, but they still exist. And there still needs to be at least one or two more individuals to help support this position. And short of acknowledging that, and short of moving forward, we're not gonna really get the progress that we need. We're still working on 2022. We're not out of the woods of 2022 yet. We should be by now, but we're not. And we'll see what happens and how long this takes. I think we're really close to getting out of the 2022 unauditable identification. It should make a lot of people sad, but I don't know that it does enough, but we'll see where that goes. So that's how we got involved, or myself dragged into the auditor's business. I certainly don't enjoy it at all, even in the treasurer's office, because again, I don't really have a direct influence on it.
Scott, if I could, before we go for adventure,
Yes.
if I could just take a brief second. I want to point out and say that the individual employees are identify someone in the auditor's office and say this person's not, that's not the objective here. The objective is if we need to develop training programs to bring those, whatever reason those folks were hired in here, whether they have the aptitude or they've had the training to perform that type of bookkeeping activity or not, then we need to look at, if they do have a position here, we need to retrain them, make sure that they're operating at a level to be efficient in their job. It's just what the taxpayers demand. Just want to be very clear that we're not out here trying to attack individuals to say that, you know, in Board of Elections, you got a bunch of people there that don't know what they're doing. Well, that's not the case. We want to help you elevate those folks to get the job done and do a better job. And that's really what the process is here. It isn't targeting one person. And I know the rumors get out there and everybody thinks that the council's beating up on this person and beating up on that. And Scott's attacking him and we haven't really met, but so I just want to be clear. That's not my intentions. I don't speak for everyone up here, but we've never targeted or went after any individuals. It's about trying to elevate us as a government entity to perform better. That's all it's about.
Correct. And be able to provide records and such for the audit and.
That's what we're doing here, I believe. So,
Yeah,
Okay, anyone else have any
I'll actually agree with that in terms of like, it's, in my experience as leaders, it's our job to, maybe the position they were hired into isn't the greatest for them, but we need, as leaders, in order to elevate not only that person's career, put them in positions to succeed. And it's just kind of a way to do that kind of thing, so.
And also to add, I mean, sometimes as we start using a system like Oracle, there's potential, we find that there's different skill sets needed in a department and maybe a different structure that helps them manage that system. So I think what you're doing is on target to kind of eventually get us into the business model of that auditor's office that really works to execute the job very efficiently. We don't have another repeat of some of the problems. But I agree. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
thank you, Dan.
Any other discussion?
Just briefly with the auditor, Scott did, the Senator Thompson talked to Joe, and he said that they had an issue with, purchasing coffee. Have you heard anything that coming out of that other supply and having to create new line items? They're doing Furnish is on here now, but I think all of us in this, everyone in this room probably buys their coffee from, are you getting it from the commissioners?
Buy it ourselves. Probably taxpayers are not paying for their own coffee.
Okay, okay. Well, we have, some of the folks are getting it out of office supplies. And now it's gonna, so,
If we're kind of runs on a shoestring, I'm telling you, but
Yeah.
yeah, I directed them to you, council.
no, that's good. I just, well, it was an issue with, purchasing. And I know they're not the only department, a lot of departments out there do that, buy things out of that line item. And just so you're aware, everyone, If necessary, you might need to create a new line item because they might not pay your bill when you send it to. That's it.
Okay, next recorder.
Madam Chairman, on this,
Yes.
for Councilman Brewer, this is an ordinance that's passed every year to fund the, perpetuation.
Moving on to the surveyor.
Simple transfer, I'm in support.
Any questions? Yeah.
Thank you,
I didn't want you to pull a hamstring there.
Coroner's office, I did receive, I think a few of us received, Newmeyer,
Yep. For computer equipment that needs to be upgraded, got old computer equipment in there, need faster, more modern stuff, so. Simple out of a reimbursement grant fund, I'm in support.
did say he would be present Tuesday. Center Township.
Madam Chair, same explanation as before, the Center Township, and it was actually toilet paper. It wasn't coffee, it was toilet paper. They wouldn't pay for the TP. I'm like, kind of an important piece of paper. You might need the office, right? Sit deep, Google.
Gotta bring your own, don't
Yeah,
do that.
This is square.
Fortunately.
Wasn't that a Seinfeld episode? Yeah, Spare Square.
Criminal cards. Did they have, I mean, Councilman Ham?
Unsure. Anybody online? Because I don't know.
Their safe grant and.
You want to address that?
Oh, it's just,
This is their safe grant that they get year after year. They buy drug testing supplies, to conduct drug testing if people come into court hearing for a meeting with local officers.
Good morning, Council. I'm sorry. Hi, hello, Jeanette and Madam President and County Council, Denise Bozich on behalf of Lados. I hope you can hear me. I'm sorry, my mute wasn't unmuting.
I think it's, all right, one second, we're trying to get our volume squared away. It's hard to hear you.
Okay,
Oh, perfect. There you go.
great. Well, wonderful. Good morning, Council. I believe if I heard correctly, you're on the safe grant portion of the Lados Division 2 fund.
No, criminal courts.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'll go ahead and I'll mute myself and come back on at the appropriate time.
She's 17.
well, number 10, I mean, what I'm hearing, and I didn't know, but it sounds like from Leanne, not Leanne, Jeanette, that it's just appropriating the grant that was given as drug testing or something.
Yes, and the council approved the grant application earlier this year, and they were awarded the funding, and they're using it as a.
You said that here from Judge Kappas, but I didn't in this instance, but I'm satisfied with Jeanette's explanation.
Lake Superior Room 1. Anyone online? Oh, there she is. So. Got my memo.
Marilyn Pitts on behalf of Judge Shirelli. We are required to provide counsel to the people that can't afford an attorney. We're not having more jury trials. If they are convicted, we have to provide them a lawyer. The public defenders on our staff are appellate attorneys. The rules are very precise and time consuming. And the public defenders do not have the time or expertise. Also, very few lawyers do appellate work. Why we are investing the $15,000 into other professional services.
Only question that I have. Judge, can you help me?
I can try to help.
How do you do this in your court?
So normally whatever public defender is assigned to the jury trial, if it's a public defender jury trial, then they would be responsible for the appeal. I know about the one in question, the defendant went pro se, and now is demanding an appeal after he was convicted, trying to represent himself in Judge Shirley's court. It's the horse rider guy, if any of you saw the paper.
Oh, yeah.
So they have to have someone who, and apparently they don't have anyone on their staff who's appellate qualified. So they're gonna have to contract with an outside attorney for purposes of this particular case.
Mhm.
It happens very rarely in the county division, when it does happen. We've had to do it once before. We paid for it out of other professional services several years ago. And we had a similar situation. We were able to transfer money at that time, but I don't know what the state of
Do
your
you have that
budget is.
capability? Just asking, do you have that capability of doing so?
We do not.
And you already have the line item because we're not creating the line item. Well, this wouldn't go in next year. This is not a request for next year and ongoing.
So we did put it in the budget for 2025 also, and I believe, I think the amount that he might have requested in 2025 was 25,000. 2025 if needed. And of course, it's not approved, it's just requested.
I'm going to support this, but I'm not sure about the additional. I just have to be upfront. I don't know that I can support the additional in the budget, Scott, for us. I support this.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. You have
Good morning.
Hey, I forgot,
skipped me. Oh, yeah, I did. Come on up. Sorry.
Does it pretty chopped liver around here, huh?
I said the commissioner was a promotion and it's a joke. So, this is a little bit complicated and convoluted, so I'll try to make it as simple as possible. I was approached at the Problem Solving Court Conference back in April by the Indiana Office of Court Services. They have indicated that pretrial service department will be an unfunded mandate in 2026 for all counties in the state of Indiana to have a pretrial division for purposes of criminal rule, formerly 26, now 2.6, where you have to have a full-time department interviewing people in the jail for purposes of release and supervision. They did initially indicate to me there was a financial incentive for any counties who could get it up and moving in 2025. So I jumped on it like a hot ticket because they said it was going to be a 40% reimbursement of all salaries of any probation officers who are working in the pretrial division, like the public defender's office. They've since gone back on that and said it's going to be a competitive bid process for a grant for it if you can get it moving in 2025, but it will be unfunded in 2026. The counties that have done it as a pilot have seen a significant decrease in their jail population, mostly by up to 1/3 of their jail gets released under this new pretrial services formula. There are multiple hoops that I, as Chief Judge of Lake County, have to jump through to start this. Whether we do it in 2025 or 2026 is not really the issue at this point. The issue is we're going to have to do it. And one of the things that we have to do is create an ordinance. We have to create a budget. I'm not asking you for any money at this time. I'm just asking for the ordinance and the budget. A blank, empty budget with line items, because that's one of the things that I have to show the state is that we have a budget being prepared for it if we decide to start it in 2025 or 2026, whenever it happens. I don't want to be chasing my tail like we did with criminal rule 2.6, that we had no idea that it was coming. I'm trying to be proactive and move this forward, whether we do it in 2025 with a grant or in 2026 as a mandate with no money. It's kind of going to be dependent on what you all think and what the other judges think, but we have to do this at some point, so I would rather get ahead of it than end up behind it. Right now, we're doing criminal rule 26 or 2.6 that changed the number as overtime with probation right now. It would eliminate that part of it. Obviously, if we're doing it as a department, I'm hopeful that my colleagues are going to donate resources. I've already got a commitment from the felony division that 3 of their probation officers would go to this division. 1 of my probation officers would go work in this division, and a couple from each other from the 3 county divisions would go work in this division. So we would not have to hire new probation officers to fund this division. We would do it with the resources that we have. One of the problems that I'm encountering is getting the commissioners to tell me that we have space to house them, because they do have to be their own office. So that's one of my Don Quixote projects right now. I asked about the space between the media room and the Veteran Services office right now, but they said Judge Shirelli is being displaced for remodeling. So he's going into that space temporarily, but I'm hopeful that maybe by 2025 that space will become available, or maybe something across the street. by the public defender's office or something like that would be able to house them. I know there is an office available in the jail courtroom as a small office where the two people who from that department who would be assigned to be in the jail full-time would be able to be housed, but the other 5 doing the outside supervision once the people are released and being monitored would have to have somewhere to meet with clients that was not inside the jail. That's sort of a preview of what's forthcoming. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If you need me on Tuesday, I'd be happy to be here.
What is your estimate of the budget?
Well, right now, I'm hoping we're gonna keep it revenue neutral as far as employees are concerned and salaries are concerned. There might have to be some sunk costs for office furniture or computers, but that would be the only thing that I would think would be a necessary cost at this point. And we would ask for a grant for that, those things from the state to determine whether or not, I mean, they claim they have all this money and then when you ask them about it, they start waffling. So
No attorneys.
no attorney except me, I guess. No, there are no attorneys, it's all probation, it's to supervise those folks who get released from the jail without posting bond under criminal rule 26. There'll be certain levels, like right now we have one level only and it's release or not release in our criminal rule 26. The probation officers have agreed upon matrix that they use the Indiana IRAS protocol, and then the county division and the criminal division judges have agreed if they score under a certain amount, they can be released automatically before seeing a judge under criminal rule 2.6. What the state wants us to do is to expand that to say, okay, the people with a certain score would be automatically released, but like the next tier of folks would be released with supervision and certain conditions. And the goal is to release the pretrial population of your jail.
I thought you said 26 rate eliminated.
That's what they told me the last time, and now they're telling me we have to expand it to this. We've reduced the jail population by about 200 people in criminal rule 26. They're saying this is going to take out another third. So hopefully we'll get the jail on a regular basis somewhere between 400 and 500 people instead of 600 and 700.
Or like 800.
Well, okay, but I mean, we're doing everything. I mean, I have 14 people in the jail today, and I saw all of them this morning. So
I think it's great, Judge. I mean, anything we can do to reduce that population in jail, I mean.
Agreed.
Other than just,
Division and as well as Judge Capus's.
Yes. We are in
Same
well,
story, and
it's
they
not,
feel confident that it will be.
it's not juvenile, it's only the criminal and the county division that are subject to this. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
not true, but
And we're working together the 8 of us are working together to try to move this concept forward. It's not like we're fighting amongst ourselves, but myself as chief am taking the role of trying to lead this to get us to the front of this problem instead of at the back end of it trying to play catch up.
Judge, where could I find this school and information on that?
We sent you the problem solving court rules. We sent you copies of the statutes when we filed it. If you don't have it, please let me know. And we'll send it back up. But I did send you the whole packet of the pretrial services rules as well as the statutes accompanying it.
Thank you.
Gina,
what was that grant that we just found out we weren't able to, that the sheriff decided not to file it because it was just reduced so much? You jog my memory. It was about, was it battered women? Oh, that's it. Yeah, and you guys did consider moving that any further forward? I don't know if Judge, if that's something you worked with any of that stuff, but.
Which grant was it? I think the prosecutor did the same thing. It was too costly.
The state reduced their funding.
It was the time
Stratford.
that you had to put into the grant management and was it?
at this point, Judge is asking for
All I'm asking is you to pass the ordinance and to create a budget so I can tell them that those things
our
are.
ducks in a row, so we can get the grant monies and.
This one's just. This
Being
is
proactive.
establishing the fund.
Correct. Yes. Right, yeah, we're not asking for any money at this point. I just need to be able to tell them that I've completed so many steps to be able to ask for the grant money. And if I don't have the steps completed, we don't get anything. So I have to have these.
At this point, we're not asking for money.
$0.
At this point, right.
Right. And I will not be asking for any dollars for this in 2024. I can promise you that.
Put it in writing.
think I already,
Mhm.
that doesn't promise anything for 2025, but right now we're not asking for any money. We just need to create the fund.
Right, unfunded mandates.
Yeah, you need me on Tuesday?
Also, what, Judge, I mean, I've talked to Judge Campus as well, and Judge Cantrell being one her, I mean,
I understand.
Okay, thank you. If you need me, just text me.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
how to,
So we have, granted you guys paid for us, now we want to appropriate money. Line item under 13, B is appropriated for office supplies, food lodging, other services, charges, other equipment. This is for a cooking class, this is, by the way, this is for our agendas grant, a 2-year grant, for our probation kids. So we're going to be teaching them cooking, life skills, painting, drywalling, taping, drywall, framing doors and stuff like that. There's absolutely no total for this appropriation.
who does this training? Yeah,
We have different people, cooking class, we're bringing, some of the probation officers will do some of it. We have some people in the workforce that are real handy. Trades, skills, stuff like that.
and you will have an issue with that.
That's, the judge is doing great over there, and I think it's awesome to read over there. If you see the back row sitting out here, there's another way to make a living other than slinging drugs, right? Go out there and play around that bulldozer, have some fun, and realize it's a safer way to make it. You guys got a great staff there. They're adept. You guys get a chance to walk over, see what they're doing when it comes to education, gardening, flowers, vegetables. They're doing all these great things to those kids. So, and it's the staff just going above and beyond, and they allow that to happen.
Anyone else, any questions?
13 C is rated line item, we want to appropriate the money for Lifebook Self-Discovery Storytelling Program Grant and also Lifebook Self-Discovery Storytelling Program Grant. This is going to be done by a psychologist, Teresa Butner. It's a 2-year grant. It's funded by the Indiana Criminal Justice.
I'm good, Chris.
Questions? And transfer,
14 are detention center, and we want to transfer from professionals to overtime just to take the deal. Overtime.
short staffed or?
No, it's just a lot of times they have to work doubles and stuff like that, so they get gas. They accumulate the money, and we just try to pay it out when. Sometimes people won't come in, so somebody gets stuck doing a double.
Gotcha. Any questions with that?
15 is the task support. They want to transfer from overtime to general fund for professionals, overtime for each service contracts.
What's the number? All right, any questions on that? All right.
Lastly, 16 is protective services, want to transfer from protective services, other services and charges, the cost of interpreters and other services incurred by the employee.
Questions? Thank you. All right, is Denise still on?
Yes, I am. I hope you can hear me. Is my video, is my sound okay, Madam President? Am I coming through?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Well, good morning, Council. Denise Bozich on behalf of White House Division 2. We are asking the Council's approval of our appropriation line items for the renewing grant for the SAFE funds. For White House Division 2, this is non-matching funds. We were awarded $16,000 for a calendar year. Their fiscal year starts July through June of 2025. So the fund should be deposited shortly, but we just need to have our line items appropriated for this fund. And we're all the same items that we have had last year, other than we are asking for a new line item of office supplies. I've spoken with the grant consultant, Jean Ann, as well as my committee members, and we would certainly appreciate your approval.
I'm fine with it. We've taken on the phone. Okay.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Madam President, if I could just say, I'm temporarily assisting Latos in a transition period here, and I haven't had a chance to formally address the council. I've worked for Latos for a number of years. I'm in retirement, and it's just been a privilege and a pleasure to work with each one of you over the years. I don't think I'll have an opportunity to address you in the future, but I wanted to thank you for your support of Latos and let you know how much I have really valued and appreciate your guidance over the years that I've been affiliated with the program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you very much.
All right, commissioners. Anyone online with commissioner? Yeah. Briefing. How about sound system issue? Like joint agreements. Mary to Chicago. And County Bridge. Anyone got any questions or review those before Tuesday? Resolution.
And I mean, this is a resolution that needs to be, on a vote.
It's the silence.
Matt, do you want to call my cell and I'll put you on speaker?
We got that.
Doctor. Exterminate. Yeah.
Sci-fi.
Nerded out the doctor. Raise our hand up.
Hey, man, Joe, you're gonna walk over? All right, sounds good. Yeah, we're just-
Like a horse.
You can move to the sheriff then. Sheriff. These are all grants.
We applied for the U.S. Homeland Security Grant, the enduring needs. And then number 3 for the national priorities, but we go for funding for the real-time crime center. And these are no match grants. Number 2 for the Kevin and Afonte grant. It is for equipment to go with the transmitter bracelets that we already have. And then the Project Safe Neighborhood grant is for the stretch site equipment. It's emergency response planning software that would be in all the schools.
Anyone have any questions on those? And number 4 is your.
That was for the Project Safe Neighborhood, the Strata Site Emergency Response Planning Software.
I noticed one of them has a match. The criminal justice voluntary match. What does that mean?
They've been approved for funding up to that dollar amount, the $38.50. But the equipment they want to buy costs more than that. So they are voluntarily matching. The grant program doesn't require the match, but to buy their strata site equipment, they have to.
So the sheriff's department is going to find $7,000 within your budget. Okay, thank you.
What is this equipment?
What was that?
What is the equipment?
Stratus.
Strata Site. It's software that all the schools can have. They can set up like a emergency response. So if anything ever happened, it projects where all the exits are, where classrooms are.
Is it for them to connect with the sheriff?
So, yeah, I'm sorry, so Stratasite it's a web-based, mapping software that we, the sheriff's department, use in conjunction with the fire department and the school system to pre-plan large events and disaster situations. So we've had this software, I think maybe 3 years ago, and we had it on a grant then, and the funding ran out, so we lost access to the site. But what we had done was we had set up meetings with pretty much every school in Lake County. We sat down, we formulated maps for these disasters, and what it provides us is any first responder that respond to a school or a large event, they can log on and they can see where everything is set up and planned for these situations. So where medic staging is, where fire staging is, where police staging is. It provides real-time access so we can manipulate the maps and let officers change due to, the circumstances that we're encountering during that situation. Every school system, we provide maps to every school, as well as some other facilities, like the water park, we had set up disaster maps for them, different areas around the county. It was just an easy way for us to kind of pre-plan instead of getting to a scene and then having no idea where we're staging or where fire staging and EMS. So everything's kind of gives us a little bit of a head start in case something were to happen at one of the schools. Or like I said, any other large event that we plan for. We have one set up for like the Lake County Fair.
And is this equipment or just a program?
No, this is a web-based program. There's no equipment. It is, anybody can access it through their computer in their car or the fire truck.
What's the total cost on that?
$7,500, $37,500.
Right. God, I was thinking the same thing. If this thing was that expensive, then we would get an interlocal agreement. We go to the state corporations and say, hey, this is to protect the kids. You get 60% of the damn tax dollars. So throw a little buck our way, but for 30 grand, I mean.
Well, 30 grand is.
And it provides the safety and security and the knowledge of, this, you go in to respond to that, you end up at the mall in those corridors, now you've got a site map access to all that. That's.
It really provides us early access. So we're not behind the ball. We're trying to get ahead of it. And most of the schools participated. We did have somewhere, I want to say around 80 completed maps for different areas around.
I'm afraid we would spend more money trying to get an interlocal agreement to collect a couple of bucks from everybody. By the time we got that, probably cost us 80 grand to get 30. I think that more questions.
If you all haven't visited that real-time crime center, Sheriff Martinez gave me a tour of it. It's absolutely tremendous tool. Very good work on that. Excellent.
Yeah, I know he's worked very hard on it, and even yesterday's event, it's really helped facilitate what happened. They're doing a tremendous job with it. It really, in the matic system we're getting, it falls right into what we use. Very
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Look forward
Good morning, Lake County Council.
to learning.
As relates to the interlocal agreements, that is being paid for through Monsanto money. And so that's a portion of Commissioner Allen, and he is the one who has facilitated those two agreements. And then as it relates to the resolution, I've worked with Larry Blanchard on preparing that transfer resolution. They dotted my i's and crossed my t's for me. But that's for the debt service on the SRF loan and SRF bond that we just closed on this past spring. And that's for the Calumet Township Septic Sewer Project.
And Chicago over, New Chicago over, Charlie, you can go along on that? Or Ray? Ray? I kind of stepped away from it. It's a great thing, you guys, if you're not familiar with it, they're going to consolidate their resources. Township trustees put a new building in there and every one-stop shop for the taxpayer, which is And you don't want to argue with Sue Pelfrey, trust me.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben.
I do apologize. I thought my technology was.
With that cool computer robot voice.
Yeah.
Ran out of badges.
Emergency management, grant, FEMA. Here. Oh, no, that's the one. Okay. Elections, you're up.
Good morning.
Morning.
Requesting the approval of seeking a grant for emergency homeland security kind of grant to the Secretary of State. So back in January, we had CISA come out and evaluate our building here and our processes for election. Some things we do very, very well on, and of course, there's always something we can do better on. And so we are requesting a grant to the Secretary of State. This is, remember last year we came in and did some for our training. So we received some money through that. I believe it was a $2 million grant that they had out there already, which we received a large sum of it, 90,000 last year. So now they've taken the excess of $1 million, and I was putting that for a grant. First contenders for it are those that didn't apply last year, but we figured we're not going to get anything if you don't apply. So we requested approximately 42,000, it was 41,655 for additional equipment, being cameras, security locks, so forth. Don't go into all the details of what we're asking for. So, but you have it if you'd like to look at it with the items we're requesting.
Any questions?
But it's wait, I was just requesting for the grant. The judge say about the space that they're looking for? Please be cognizant, that is our area that we use for tabulation in conjunction with the media room south. Which, she was asking for possibly the media room south, next to the media room, as a place to house that new department. Keep in mind that is what we use for tabulation every year, from the off year, for the tabulation of the vote totals, which is a very important process for the county.
It's a concern you have to address with commissioners.
It is, I just kind of want to keep your heads.
Especially being that you use it twice a year and maybe.
Yeah, but they're talking about moving someone into there.
Veterans need some space as well, so that's to the north cluster, they need another.
How's that big drop there?
Yeah, maybe the local
Buildings
buildings.
models for space, as you can see, we're building on for the voting machines.
Right.
We've reached capacity. So, just in the event, for you, I just want you to know that in the back of your mind, very important task that we do in there in conjunction with media. So there is no other areas in these buildings that can do it for election day, for us to tabulate and to process all the absentees. So just food for thought in the background. I will be talking with the commissioners now that I've heard that also.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you're up, Mark.
Morning, council members.
Morning.
In front of you, I'm asking for two separate things. One is to adjust the ordinance via part-time pay. Hasn't been adjusted for several years. The pay scale for the full-time telecommunicators has increased significantly. Part-time scale had not been increased over the last several years. So just asking for us to be able to do that, make that a little more closer to what we're paying our full-time staff. So what's happening is we have some individuals that are going to school. So in the summer, they'll come and work for us full-time, and they'll work part-time hours in the other areas when they're going to school. They're taking such a significant drop that some of them are even questioning whether or not they should stay with us or go maybe somewhere else. So that, again, that's one of the reasons why we're trying to do that. We're also attempting to create a larger range for our custodians. So our custodians actually make less than the other custodians in this building. They did make more. I was proactive about that, but then the county was gracious enough to give the rest of the custodians a raise, and they actually made more. It's not that one's better or worse, but for our room, they have to have certain clearance and they have to be able to pass certain background checks, and that's just difficult to do without giving some form of a pay that's comparable and comparable to. Any questions about that part of the request?
Anyone?
And the other one is requesting a change of a position, I'm asking for a new position, just change the title and additional salaries for one of the positions in our department. We have an administrative assistant. It's been that since I got there. To my understanding, even before I got there, they had to change some of the rules or the duties of that position, and they basically became a payroll clerk on top of some of the other stuff they were doing. The person we have in there right now is strictly managing the office. The other portion of that is they're actually helping many of the other offices in this building with some of the concerns and issues they've had with the Oracle system and stuff like that. She's phenomenal. It's not just about her. If she were to leave, they need to make sure that we get somebody that's comparable and comparable to what she's doing right now. We're not asking for a very significant bump. Also, it's just a transfer, not asking for any additional funds. And I created a job position, a job description that aligns with what she's already doing. I feel like that title would be best suited.
Feel that it's better to do it now, Mark, than next month of budget.
So I did have it placed into the budget. There were some things that kind of came at us a little quick, and I wanted to show good faith to the individual involved and say I was willing to at least come to you and ask you for this ask. If you're going to tell me that we need to do it at budget time, I understand, but at the same time, I felt I owed it to that individual to at least attempt to do this now.
So yeah, it is an increase.
Right.
So.
Transfer.
Because it's not for the full year though.
I get it. And
Okay.
and it's not coming out of.
And you have a job description for this new position? Okay. Can you share that with us? Could you share it?
What is your request? Retro?
No retro, just that when
No
you approve it, we would then put it into place.
You get it lined up with that to build into the 25.
It has been passed.
So you probably have funds within your budget now.
Yes, I'm not asking for any additional appropriations to transfer.
Okay, very good. Any questions from anyone? Great.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Oh, this is the levy time. Circuit breaker. Okay.
Madam Chairman, this is the annual review that's mandated by the Indiana code. What we normally have, there's kind of a recipe in the agenda in the back about reading the statute, opening up for a public hearing on the issue of maximum levy. Scott has provided us with those maximum levies that the state has.
Councilman, have you usually read?
I will, Tom, will you please give me the verbiage?
Do you want to do it all? Do you want to share with someone?
Yeah, Pete.
4 paragraphs. Guys.
Oh, okay, that's all.
Oh, that's not the,
That's
not the.
That was like.
Yeah, just one.
Okay, very good.
It's, I guess.
Yeah, you should.
What am I doing?
Pete and I got, no, I don't have to.
You don't have to.
We were a Hawaiian shirt.
All right, citizens appointments. This is the new JRAC.
Yeah, on the new ordinance that's, I think it's still gonna be on the agenda for Tuesday. There's actually only one county council appointment, and it's the president.
Right.
So there will not be 2 members.
And it's only the one. And is it still the mental health rep?
I just was looking at the ordinance. And,
We'll know that Tuesday.
yeah, we'll know on Tuesday if it's gonna
Be the
be.
president.
And Maribel,
I'm asked for a deferral. I got a couple of people I haven't heard back yet from, but if anybody has anyone interested.
well, I think the town has to make the recommendation. Is that correct? We had this issue with Munster. I believe the town has to make the recommendation and then we approve the recommendation.
I didn't think so.
And when I did Gene Lord on this one, I appointed Gene Lord and then, then Gene recently passed away, so that's why we're reappointing, but the town of Maryland, actually, Chris got an argument with us saying that, well, Tom can explain. An argument? Well, not, but saying that we don't have the authority to put a person on any board. So, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I had spoken to the town manager about it, and there was some confusion about what Gene was actually doing there with council or commission he was on. So they were supposed to tell us whether economic development is active and any suggestion of people that have shown interest.
So the reason why we can't counsel.
No, there really is. We have one.
They were, we made the right recommendation.
This is different than the, everything we had, I believe it was Munster, who said they had to make the recommendation, and then their council had to vote on it, and then it came to us. Do you remember? Do you recall that?
I was there. They changed all the stuff with tourism.
Maybe it was a different board. Okay.
Was it tourism, Chris? That we had to give?
No, this was recent. This was Munster. I didn't live there, so that's why they changed it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, anyone got anything else? Okay. Reminder, we have a, executive session today.
I think we have a break for 11:30.
Yes, 11:30.